the wedding was really beautiful. But when you came out to cut the cake, you cut it with the Holy Spirit. I saw the glory of the Lord flood down that aisle. And then he started to speak in tongues. He was ushering you into ministry.
When do things shift?
I never saw a honeymoon. He was very, very controlling.
Okay, so now that we are done with the introduction, with the traditional wedding, let's now move to the wedding day.
Wedding day was beautiful. Yeah, the wedding was really beautiful. But like I was telling you previously, in the night, I woke up, I got a scripture, and I just found it. It's in Esther chapter 6, verse 8.
Okay.
It said, when I got up to read it, it said, let a royal robe be brought, which the king has worn, and a horse on which the king has ridden, with a royal crest placed on its head. So that scripture.
You got this in the night?
The night before the wedding.
Okay.
So I was so pleased because I was being anxious. We're so far away. There's going to be traffic jam. How will I look? So it was such beautiful confirmation from the Holy Spirit that look here, a royal robe. I'm going to dress you in a royal robe.
Okay.
And your car will have a royal crest. So there will not be any delays, you know. So I was happy. That morning I was so happy.
Yeah.
I had a joy about me. And we got to church. We got to church. It was so nice. But what stood out the most for me at the wedding is the gentleman, the pastor that joined us in matrimony. God rest his soul, Honorable Dombo. He had counseled us previously, and he's the one that joined us in marriage. So anyway.
Before joining you, how does it feel walking down the aisle?
It is so cute. I had a princess gown. I was so happy. But I want to rewind a bit. At my introduction ceremony, I have a friend. I used to pray with her at the time. She attended the introduction ceremony, but she had to leave very early because you know how those things, it can take a bit of time, and she lives so far away. So she left just before I could wear the last
outfit.
I've really gone through these things so fast. When I was preparing for the introduction, I went and told Pastor Isaac, look, I don't want many people. I want 12 people. We don't even have to do those messy things. We can just wear linen. He looked at me and said, Michelle, in the glory of the Lord, where's the glory of the Lord in all of that? Because he asked me, what's your list when we're preparing for how many people to call? So what should we prepare? He just make a list away and
because I remember you were talking about not even having the introduction at the traditional wedding.
No, just come and meet my parents. Let's eat cake and go home.
Because
I've never really understood the essence of all that opulence and unnecessary things. That's what I thought anyway. So Pastor said, no, where's the glory of the Lord in all of that? So I went and made a list. But I tell you, everybody I found was excited to come. Even all of those pastors. Oh my God, Michelle, what an honor. It is so great. So jam-packed. So anyway, this girl, she says to me after the traditional wedding, she went home and slept.
Okay.
She called me the following morning and said, listen, I had a dream. Do you know I attended your function all the way to the end? I said, how? You left before I put on my mushanana. Then she said, no. I dreamt that when you came out to cut the cake, you're dressed like she called you the Rwandese princesses. They're called, I've forgotten what name she used. You look like a princess, a Rwandese princess, and you had a beautiful gown. But when you came out to cut the cake, you cut it with the Holy Spirit.
What?
I was like, okay. I left it at that. So, fast forward to the wedding. God has given me this scripture, like Michelle, royal robe, crest. We hit the road. So we came to church, and I start, you know how it is, there's a couple that's on the inside. You have to wait for them to come out, then you walk in. So as I walk in, Vivian, the one that had that
dream of you cutting.
Not the other, it's the different Vivian. She looks at me, and they're smiling in my lipstick. It's a special day. My lips are painted. She starts to cry. Like tears are falling. I'm thinking, dude, I can't deal with you.
Yeah.
I have things in my eyes. They'll get spoiled.
Yeah.
So I looked away and, we went all the way to the front. But this is so profound. The late Honorable Dombo, when I started to walk down, he stood up because he was seated at the far end where the pastors sit. And then when he started to speak, his voice was cracky, as if he wants to cry. And then he said, I was seated over there and I was thinking, where's the next bride so we can get over with this? And, but then when you walked in, I saw the glory of the Lord flood down that aisle. And then he started to speak in tongues.
Oh, wow.
Let me tell you, that wedding was so interesting that it got to a point where it was just me and Honorable Dombo. He's talking, he's teary, I'm here crying. I don't even know what he's saying because he's speaking in tongues. And then I had to be reminded, like, yo,
wow,
it's the bride. So one of the pastors, he asked me 3 days later that, Michelle, do you even know what Honorable was saying at that time? I said, well, he just joined us. He said, no, he was ushering you into ministry because he has a gift for interpretation of tongues.
Yeah.
He was ushering you into ministry. So I thought to myself, big deal. Marriage is ministry.
Yeah.
I left it at that. So anyway, the wedding was so beautiful. We joined in matrimony. We signed whatever we had to sign. At the after party, I danced. And
so
wedding happened.
Now, after the wedding, you've confirmed to us that God kept confirming to you every step of the way, right from the before the engagement to the wedding day. Now we are starting life as a married couple, as a married woman. Take us through that. When do things shift? Do you start? How does it start? Like everything okay, or things shift right from the get-go?
I'd boldly say I never saw a honeymoon.
Actually, honeymoon, I'd skip that part. Do you go for the honeymoon? Did you have a honeymoon?
Yeah. And
how was it?
It was good. But as early as week 3 or 2, I started to have questions.
This was week 3. We are now
into
home.
The marriage.
We are now okay.
Into the marriage. So there's things I would see, and they would shake me. I went into self-discovery mode. I learned that I wasn't patient at all. I learned that I was totally flawed. Everything that was required of me as a wife, I had to learn.
Okay.
Right? First of all, I told you I went into the marriage with expectations of being taken care of.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And my partner, he was not in that position yet.
What do you mean by not in that position? Was he not able to provide financially, or he just wasn't?
No, in the beginning, he didn't have a job yet.
Okay.
But God is so gracious. The job came in. Not too long after we got married. The job came in. But there would be incidents.
Sorry to cut you off. So you were still stepping in the gap when he didn't have
that didn't change. Remember, that's what took me in there.
Yeah. So and even after you got married, it didn't change.
Yeah. I had to carry on.
Okay.
Providing.
But for now, you're providing because he doesn't have a job
yet. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So I still had my Excel sheet staring me in the face. That's shock number 1.
Yeah.
But I had learned a lot that, the Lord, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor in the sight of the Lord. He will be blessed. I believed. Because then again, I'd think of David. When David encounters Abigail for the first time, he has nothing, but he has the promise of the Lord upon his life. So it wasn't a huge deal, but there was that, okay, if this was the reason for me to get married, it's not happening.
Yeah.
Yeah?
But again, that was it wasn't the main reason.
Yeah.
The main reason was instruction. You're just following in an instruction.
I'm following an instruction, but I also have needs as a woman.
Yeah.
You understand? So that aside, there'd be incidents where you feel, oh, he let her go to a job, even though I was earning more. So remember, I still keep the status of giving away all my money into the home, which is what I was running away from, right? But that aside, okay, even after he got a job, it wasn't as paying as mine.
So you were earning more?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I stayed in that position. But then also I noticed that it didn't bother them.
Okay.
You know, there's a difference. It didn't bother him that I was footing all the bills.
He was comfortable.
He was comfortable.
Okay.
And you wouldn't feel that appreciation, like, look, I'm doing this. And then I was messed up. A lot of us girls do that. To walk into a gig expecting the other person to pay.
Yeah.
To foot all the bills.
Yeah.
But I think
take care of you like it's supposed to be. That a man provides for his family.
Yeah. So there was that.
Okay.
And then also there's a possibility, it's not a possibility, it's possible. I was single for too long.
Okay.
Handling my own. Now someone has come into a space and we have to handle both.
Okay.
And it takes a lot of sacrifice. So I found myself in a position where I was bending over backward to accommodate, but I wasn't being accommodated. The first thing that I experienced was he was very, very controlling. Very, very controlling.
What do you mean by very controlling? Because a person could just try to tell you something, but because you've been single for a long time, you feel like you can't tell me what to do.
So that side was there as well. That side was there as well. So and I had to go through that. I have to learn to take instructions from this person. But it's not about the instructions that has been given by my partner. It was the how. Number one, the first and biggest challenge we ever got was you'd never listen to me. Not even once. For us, what was a conversation in my marriage was when he would say things and I agree. So I felt that in the beginning, for a very long time, things would only go well in the marriage when I'm agreeing.
Okay.
If I bring an idea, keep quiet. You don't know what you're saying.
But also, how was your delivery? Because delivery matters. You know? For you to say that someone was not listening to you, how would you deliver the message, and when would you deliver the message?
See,
because it's important when and how you deliver your message.
Listen to this. That thing of how to deliver a message is when you have a misunderstanding. I'm talking about normal conversation.
Okay.
Like how you'll say, okay, let's go and have chicken. Then I say to you, I feel like pork. The chicken is what is nice.
Okay.
Do you get that sort of thing?
Okay, yeah.
Like what would appear as normal conversations. You see, every relationship is communication. You say something, I say something back. If I don't agree, we find common ground somewhere.
Yeah.
But from an earlier stage, everything was according to the book of this gentleman.
You had no say, really.
And in the beginning, I was like, okay, I think I'm getting used to being with another person. So, you let it as you work on yourself. Because like I said, I didn't know I wasn't humble. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'd call my friend and say to him, listen, I'm struggling with this, that, and the other. One time he gave me very good advice. He said to me, Michelle, when you take a material to a tailor to make a dress for you, and they say to you, come back on Sunday, you better not show up on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Because all you will find is scissors, this piece over there. Yet what you want to see is the finished
product. Yeah.
So you need to wait for the finished product.
On Sunday. Yeah.
You are a different piece.
And
your partner is a different piece. You need to give it time for the pieces to come together.
Okay.
And then the stitching process. And then he said to me, when the stitching starts to happen, it will be so nice because you've built it together. It will never tear. So that comforted me. I worked on that. But then there's incidents that would happen in this process. I didn't notice immediately, but my partner was only comfortable being the only voice in my life. What do I mean by that?
The only voice?
I was separated from all of the people that I relate with closely. And you know, all these things I didn't know from the beginning. I only found out as I went along. In fact, a lot of it I just discovered in end of 2022 into 2023.
Yeah.
And I called up, why was all of this like this? Because remember, you come into a thing for it to work. So I began to struggle. Like, okay, look, for example, Maureen. Maureen and I had been sisters from the get-go. The good thing is the Lord had prepared me and said, where are you going? Maureen can't come.
Yeah.
But even then, this person gave me a dream.
Yeah.
And they said, I saw in a dream when Maureen was looking at you and she was not happy that you're married and she was very sad and crying about it. So something was painted in my head that Maureen doesn't wish me well. Oh, by the way, these are things I've never told Maureen.
Wow.
There's a lot that happened that I kept to myself. Because you know you have to work. The Lord spoke.
Did you believe that though?
No, I just kept quiet.
Yeah.
I didn't tell Maureen about it.
Yeah.
And I didn't tell him anything because this is a person that doesn't know that I have worked with Maureen since 2000.
Yeah.
Like we're literally sisters. You understand? We think the same. We wish each other well.
Yeah.
So I just bunked it, left it there. And then the guy that introduced me to him, he was pushed out of my life. Like,
would he tell you point blank, do not talk to this person? Or
no. It was in a very subtle manner, you know? Because what happened was, remember, you're already getting used to being in each other's space.
Okay.
You started to live together. There's things you need to get used to as a couple. And I've agreed that I've understood that the dress will fit at some point. So I remember a lot earlier on in the marriage, I think in the first quarter of the year, our friend that introduced me to him needed somewhere to stay. Him and his wife, they were in between homes. So I said, when he called me and you know, he's looking for a house but he's in between homes.
Yeah.
I said to him, listen, you can live at ours. And I'm thinking scripturally, like, you know, Jesus says, you know, when you house those that are looking for where to stay, you're accommodating Jesus. And I'm thinking, after all, you're my husband's best friend. You know, I met him through you. It won't be a problem.
Yeah.
So, you know, he comes over with his wife. At the time, my husband has got a job and he's working up country. So when he calls me, I tell him, oh, by the way, so and so, they're having issues, but you know, they can, I've let them, I couldn't let them sleep on the streets, and then they're in between and they're going to find. So, I got a mouthful. I'm thinking, this is my friend, actually my pastor.
Yeah.
Who actually introduced me to you.
Yeah.
So I would think that you would want to impress him because of what he did for you, me and you.
But also they've been friends longer than you
before
have.
I came in.
So they're like best friends.
So it became a challenge because these guys took a while to get her home, perhaps a month or two. But it became a challenge between him and I.
Yeah.
You did this without asking me. You just do. I'm thinking, your friend was homeless. It's like your sister coming here homeless and I say, you go out. Let me first call, you know? So that became a point of argument.
Could it have been that, okay, so his issue was you giving them the go-ahead before actually talking to him about it?
Yeah. Actually, when this person called me, it was in the night, around 8 p.m. I told him you can't sleep on the street.
Oh, so by the time he called, they had nowhere to sleep that night. Oh.
It was desperate times. Okay. So I called this person and said, this is what has happened. And he wasn't happy. I couldn't understand how. Because where I come from, people can come and stay when they have an issue. So there was those sorts of issues. And then
that is your life before you got married. It was an open. There was an open door for your people to come in and go. To come, they were always welcome.
No. It was, if you're very close to me, like you, and you come and knock, there's no, it's okay. You can just come in. But even then, I have to be very honest with you. I wasn't the very hospitable type. it's because this person was a close friend to both of us. You understand? But before that, I was so used to being in my apartment all by myself. And that's one of the things that I learned from my husband, and I'm so thankful to him, to God for him. You understand? I'll get to that, but let's if we touch this for a bit. I noticed that his discomfort was so intense. And by the way, when this couple comes to stay with us, they notice the friction between us. Like, it is too intense. Please notice that both of them, the other couple also is newly wedded. And I'm saying that they have such a beautiful friendship. They understand each other. He listens to her. She listens to him. And I don't have that. So I kept saying, so when will I get to that? And when there would be an issue and his friend notices it and he tries to speak to him, he would be like, you're only saying that because you're her friend. You're siding with Michelle because she's your friend. But I'm thinking he's your friend too. And he looks out for the both of us. You know, so the friction became so intense that at some point he paid for them to leave. He helped to contribute for them to get a new home. But me, deep down, I knew it's because they are a problem here. You understand? And that hurt me a little. Now, if you're asking for red flags, the minute I sat into the house, decided to expand. But please also note that I needed fixing as well. I wasn't very accommodative. I wasn't very hospitable. I was, let us just put it in black and white, I had a bit of pride in me. I remember, for example, he made a comment months later that I said something that upset him, that hurt him. One time he came home with some grocery shopping. I think maybe like a few kilos of sugar. And I said to him, why don't you just buy a sack? It's easier. This is my mindset. It's easier to buy. It's not good to keep going back to the shops. It's so inconveniencing. Why don't you? But
because that's how you used to do things before. You'd buy things to last.
So do you see how I was so not okay? So this is somebody who was thought of bringing something home. And instead of saying, welcome home, honey, thank you for this, I'm thinking, why did you buy a kilo? Why didn't you just buy a sack? So I was so flawed. I was so flawed. And when he would come home and he's hungry, he asks for something, I'd say to him, please be patient. And I wouldn't understand that when men are hungry, they want food immediately. So I was so free with my mouth. I would say like hurting words back, you understand? And even this, business of waiting on a man, go and bring the spoon, go, the African way, I'd be like, oh God, what is this? Am I a house girl?
So would you say that, how people tend to, singles tend to pray about marriage or God, bring me my husband, I'm ready, and you are actually not ready for what being a wife actually comes with.
That is exactly what was the case with me. I prayed for marriage, but I didn't know what marriage was. Because I remember one time we had an incident. When we got married, I still do, I have a plot of land by the lake. And I was saying to him, he was saying, okay, we need to construct a house. I said to him, I have water by the lake. Sorry, I have land by the lake, by the water. So we can use that. And then he said, no, I can't build a house in your land. I will get us land and I will. Now, because all of my single life, I've always wanted to wake up by the lake so I can worship the Lord, the God of nature. I was offended. Like, no, but why can't we use it? After all, we're married. What's mine is yours. I ran over to my auntie's house and I told her, look, Auntie Esther, this person is doing this, that, and the other. And she told me, Michelle, in marriage, you leave to cleave.
That's true.
Now, me, I hadn't cleaved yet. Let me tell you, the first year, there was a lot of those. And I remember complaining a lot, like, why aren't things going smoothly? I think what I was saying was, why aren't things going the way that I want them? Yes, he was controlling, but even I wasn't patient. So I called my spiritual mom, because then that's when she started the journey of working with me in this marriage. And I remember her telling me one time she was praying so hard for me. Then the Lord told her, trainer. Please note my spiritual mom doesn't speak a lot of English. And she was there telling me, the voice kept screaming, oh, you're trainer, trainer. So when she told me that, I was like, oh, wow. Then she told me, Michelle, the Lord showed me that you're not a simple person.
Yeah.
The Lord is training you to be humble. The Lord is training you to... So put me on ice. You understand? It put me on ice. So I started to operate in a manner of, when I'm about to react, I remember, a woman must be very humble. A woman must be very submissive.
Hadn't they told you these things in counseling, in premarital counseling, all these things? Or were you like, just, sometimes they tell you things until you're actually there for these things to,
Sweetheart,
to put them into practice?
Counseling is very good. I have learned, as Michelle, that experience is the best teacher.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
They did counsel us. But remember, normally, you're allowed 3 months before the wedding to do counseling. But remember, for us, it was 1 month. So it was so jam-packed.
Yeah.
Even though I was listening, you have other thoughts on your mind. I need a big gown. What's the bridesmaids going to wear? The venue. It needs to look like this. So your mind is never fully with the counselor.
Yeah, that's true.
So everything goes in here and lives through there.
Yeah.
So if you ask me going forward, how would you help another woman? Counseling has to start a lot earlier, even at the tender age of 12. And also you need to understand this. Our mom that brought us up was a single mom.
Yeah.
And she could handle her own. Everything she would do for herself, educating us, feeding us. So I grew up with the mindset of, I don't need a guy.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I didn't even know how to ask for money. You understand? I didn't know how to ask for help because I've grown up thinking I can do these things on my own.
And being humble.
I was a problem wife. You understand?
Yeah.
I was not a wife. I was not a woman. Remember, a woman is gotten from a man.
Yeah.
So in the first year, I was struggling to get into that being a woman.
Yeah.
And then my mom would call me back and say, okay, I think I'm actually the one that got this dream. I had a dream where my husband was wearing a diaper. He's a baby, like your son's age, but it's his face. So I called my mom and asked her, what kind of dream is this? She said to me, Michelle, that person is spiritually, they're very young.
Yeah.
They're not up to your level. So there's things you're going to, you know why 1 Peter says, women, your conduct has to be good so that your unbelieving partner can learn from you.
That's true, yeah.
You understand? So for me, as of this view of, but I found him in church, but he knows. And there's things that he would do or say, and they're against what we were taught in counseling. And I know for a fact he was asleep when they were talking to us.
Yeah.
So I struggled in the first year. I struggled. It's like I entered that marriage like this, stiff. But I learned how to, like he broke me. He helped me a lot, this person. I normally say to people, this man pastored me. Like he's the best pastor I ever had. Because all the things you hear Pastor Tom of MCF talking about, women, siruala, you don't have to say a thing, humble yourself. Easier said.
Easier said than done. You have to be in a situation.
I attended those singles conferences. I listened to all of those things. But what awaited me in the home, I wasn't ready for. You understand?
Yeah.
So I remember in our, you could say 5th or 6th month, I got pregnant with what was supposed to be our first child.
Okay. So you mentioned that you had a child. Did he have any children?
Yeah, he had 2 kids. He had 2 kids from previous relationships. And he kept saying to me that his dream was to have his kids live with him.
Okay.